So hello everybody, this is Milad and here I am in Tampere City. It's going to be really cool soon. Well, in this video I want to talk about basically how you can pass interviews, especially technical interviews in the tech industry. And in this video I just want to share my experiences and how I felt it, how I experienced it, how was it for me. So this is basically my experiences. Please be aware that it's not gonna be 100% as it was for me. It's not gonna be exactly the same for you, but I think at least around Europe it's pretty much the same, because I remember that last year when I wanted to, it was more than 1 year I think. But during that time, when I wanted to apply, I actually applied to more than 100 places, and I got around 20 or more than that interviews, and actually a lot of them went to the next level. Basically, there are a lot of steps, for the interviews, but pretty much all of them have a lot of same steps. So I want to talk about those basic interviews I experienced, and it's going to be pretty much the same for you, I think. It depends, however, on the company and the country you're applying for and a lot of other things. But I can say that I experienced pretty much all sorts of interviews regarding to the technical point actually. So the very first interview, the very first step, the very first interview you have when they accept your CV and when they want you to be in their interview, with the very first interview is just simple talking. Sometimes it's a bit more technical. They ask a little bit about programming and coding and development and these sort of things, but they're actually looking for looking for what you experienced before, what skills you have, and what you actually want from them, from their company, why you apply to that company. And that's pretty much about this in the first interview. So it's like chatting mostly, but there are times that they ask some technical things from you, but it's not that much technical. It's not about coding. So the very first interview, the very first level is really simple, and the only thing you need to do is just prepare yourself and try to tell about your background, your experiences, your skills, and your interests, and that's all. In most cases, you pretty much can pass the first interview, and it's not a big deal, to be honest. And if you just explain why you are a good fit for them, they're just gonna put you in the next level. That's all. But things get complicated from the second interview actually. And usually a second interview is basically for evaluating your technical skills. It's usually for coding. So there is all kinds of interviews there. One of the very first interviews I had was about basically was peer reviewing. So they give you a piece of code, a script, and they ask you to read through the code and spot the problems, the bugs with the code, and that's all you need to do. Just you need to check for the clean coding. Basically, that's the most part of the peer reviewing. You need to read the code and tell them that how you can make it better. So basically you need to be familiar with the clean coding practices, and that's a whole thing you need to do, and it's a really big thing. I have a video on clean coding, and if you watch that clip you will see that pretty much everything in coding is related to clean coding. So you can check that video and you will understand what I mean by clean coding. However, this was just a simple task, and there are other kinds of technical interviews you can have. They have, in some cases, they have online coding. Basically it's automated. There are a lot of platforms for online coding, and there is a couple of tasks. There is a lot of algorithms, like LeetCode, for instance, one of those websites that you can actually apply for it, and you can solve different problems from simple beginner level to advanced levels. And those tasks are mostly about performance and algorithms, and how you can use basically for loops, if conditions to and using data structures and data types to achieve a basically optimal solution for a task. And usually it's not dependent on the language, and they tell you that you can choose whatever language you want, and that's not really important. You can use Python, JavaScript, PHP. They don't usually care about the language you choose in most companies. So you can go with the language you want and try to do the task, and it's all automated. So the result, there is nobody watching you in those cases. There are other kinds of interview where basically there is another guy there watching you, how you code and how you transfer, how you basically translate the solution, the question, and how you achieve the solution. And that's the point. They don't care about the final solution. They just want to see how you think about it, how you solve the problem. And this is important for them in those kinds of interviews. And also there are other types, other kinds, but it's pretty much like this usually in terms of coding. Sometimes they just skip that step, and they for me, for instance, it was like this. They just looked at my GitHub, and they were satisfied with what they saw in my GitHub. They understood that I can code really clean. I'm a good developer, and that's enough for them to move me to the next step. But I tried for other positions, for other basically jobs that I applied. They tested me with different kinds of interviews, and that was fascinating. Really, I enjoyed it. So, and then if you pass that coding interview, basically the next level is basically a technical interview, that there is one or two guys that ask you about a lot of things, about system designs, or clean coding, databases. Basically they're asking about general things. They don't want you to know the methods and the functions for doing something really specific. They just want you explain about big things, about, for instance, design patterns, about what is object-oriented programming, what is clean coding in general, how you make a code better. These kind of questions about NoSQL, about SQL databases, and it depends really on the position you apply for. but it's pretty much about the big titles about your area. So for this level, you need to know a lot of things about software engineer, about version controls, about databases, about design patterns, about data structures, about designing a big system. Basically, usually they ask you to design a system that can operate under pressure. When there are a lot of traffic, what would you do in that situation? And it depends on the level you applied for. The difficulty of the questions can be different, but I suggest that you be prepared for software engineering things. It's not really specific to one language, it's about more general things, so be prepared for that. But for the coding part, well, in most cases, if there's coding task, and I forgot to tell you that in the coding interview in the second level, basically there is another kind that they just give you an assignment. You can do it at home at your free time, and there is no rush for that, but it's much bigger than normal projects. So basically, maybe they want you just create a simple web application to do something really basic, or they want you to solve a problem, and they need you to how do you use basically version controls, databases, REST APIs, web development, if it's related to web development. And for the machine learning and data science jobs also, it's pretty much the same, and the steps are really the same, but the concept and the context can be a little bit different. But that's the whole, I think I wanted to tell you. This is what I've been through, so it can be different from person to person, and I'm pretty sure that for you it's going to be really a unique experience. So if you wanted to be prepared for this, please watch a lot of videos on this, listen to all sorts of people in this area, so don't rely on just one video. This is my experience, this is how I felt it, but it can be really different for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the subscribe button, and also hit the like button if you like this. Thank you, bye bye.